What is up, you guys? Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Devin and I'm a full-time videographer and photographer, and I've had a lot of questions recently in the comments asking how I color grade and to share some tips on color correction for shooting in D-Cinelike on the Mavic Air 2. So I wanted to make a quick video and share just a few tips with you guys. I don't consider myself a color correcting or color grading expert, but I have had questions in the comments about how I like to color correct my footage. So I thought I'd share it with you guys, and I hope this is helpful to you. So let's go ahead and jump into Premiere Pro. If you use a different editor, it'll be similar settings, I'm sure, but I want to show you guys how I like to color correct my footage off of the Mavic Air 2 when I shoot in D-Cinelike. So as I've mentioned in previous videos, is that if you don't want to get into color correcting or color grading and you just want a great picture right out of the drone, go ahead and shoot in the normal color profile. I've been really impressed with how good the footage looks out of that. But if you want more control and more range and ultimately a better looking image that you'll be able to manipulate and look the way you want it to look, then go ahead and shoot in D-Cinelike. And the tips that I'm going to share with you here are going to help bring the colors back to basically regular and normal, and then from there you can put whatever creative twist you want. Alright, so we're in Premiere Pro and I've got the clips picked out that I want to color correct. These were all shot in D-Cinelike, and the first thing you want to do is make sure that your clip is actually selected. So we're going to be using the Lumetri color tab, which if you don't have this open, you can go to Window and then just look for and make sure that you have Lumetri color selected. But we're going to start off in the basic correction tab, and as long as your footage is properly exposed, you shouldn't have to mess with temperature, tint, or exposure unless you want to make a creative decision. But typically I will start with contrast, and I like my footage to have some contrast to it, so I'm going to bump this on up to around 50, and from here I'm going to turn the highlights down a little bit. We're going to bump the shadows up just a little, and then we're going to add some saturation. Somewhere around 150 will do. So that's already looking pretty good. Now let's go to the creative tab, and from here I'm going to actually add a little bit more vibrance. This may be too much for some people's taste, but I like to have my footage pop with some color. And then we're going to go into the curves, and what I like to do is I like to set up 3 dots to break up my sections. So from here I bring my shadows down a little bit, and then I bring my highlights up just a little bit. And that just creates a basic S-curve and just gives a really nice look to your footage. And that's pretty much it as far as basic correction goes. I really like the way that that looks personally. From here you can add a LUT or whatever you want to give your footage a creative look that fits whatever story that you're telling. But I do have another tip for you. I'm going to add a new item here. I'm going to add an adjustment layer. So setting up an adjustment layer, what this is going to allow you to do is, instead of making adjustments to the individual clip, you're actually going to make the color adjustments to this adjustment layer, and that's going to apply those color adjustments to all your clips. So if you shot similar looking or D-Cinelike shots and you want them all to be edited with the same color corrections, then this adjustment layer is going to make that really easy. So I highly recommend setting up an adjustment layer, because then you won't have to sit there and tweak everything. And then what this will allow me to do is, say I want to make some minor changes to this one, well, now the adjustment layer can stay the same, and I can just go in here and I can maybe bring the exposure down a little bit, bring the highlights down, and you can do that individually on this clip while still keeping your adjustment layer active. So again, guys, this is just some basic tips. There's many ways to color correct footage. This may not be the best way, and it's definitely not the only way. This is the way that I like to do it, and it's worked really well for me. So I hope that these tips are helpful to you. Now, if you were to try this in the normal color profile, you may run into much smaller editing windows of what that footage is going to allow you to tweak and edit when it comes to contrast and highlights and saturation. And if you messed up any of your footage and you need to raise the exposure or anything like that, shooting in D-Cinelike will be much more forgiving in the editing room. So those are just a few reasons that you might consider making the switch or continue shooting in D-Cinelike. Well, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you like this video, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in another video.